Some Artist. Today we're doing another previews flip through. So, in case you don't know, there's the big phone book here. And then we have a little Marvel previews as well. So this is the August edition, and this is for stuff that goes on sale in October. And we're going to switch it up and actually start with the little Marvel book first. So right off the bat we see X-Men, X of Swords, or 10 of Swords as it's meant to be read. I think I've heard it's gonna be like a 22-part crossover or something insane. This is a cool image here too. A lot of big things happening with Venom and Carnage and Null right here, I believe is this guy's name. And so yeah, you start to see a lot of the tie-in books here. Another thing you'll notice, they have a lot of Alex Ross timeless variants. It's the Wolverine one. I'd like to get some of them, but hopefully they'll release an image with all of it, everyone's portraits together. I know I've seen an image that shows like all of them, but they're really small, so I don't know. But I would like to see, or at least own a few of these. But I think once again there's probably about 20 or so separate comics and all with the covers. So I don't see like the actual checklist for the X of Swords event. But I'm sure in one of the more recent X-Men books it's probably in there. And I know I'm sure whenever you pick up like a single part of it, you'll have the whole checklist in the back. Yeah, so more big things going on with Spider-Man here. We see the return of the Green Goblin. I think I'll definitely be getting the Spider-Man Alex Ross variant. And then there's the cool Kindred cover here. And then Gleason is doing the interiors on Spider-Man 51. And we see kind of like a black light coloring almost here. In the Doctor Strange domain. And then this is like a .1 tie-in sort of a thing to Last Remains. I guess it's kind of like the arc after the current arc, which is, I think, Original Sin or something to that extent. Not seeing it here. But I'll be showing off some of that on my upcoming haul next Saturday. There's another cool Alex Ross cover there. Now this has been delayed for a while, so it's exciting. This is the miniseries that J.J. Abrams wrote with his son here, and it looks like that's going to be wrapping. I think they stalled on issue 4. I have the first 3, I believe. So it'll be good to see that finished up finally. I was surprised that Marvel got the rights to make Ultraman comics. He's kind of like a staple in Japanese pop culture. Here's a couple page preview here. Let me see, Iron Man relaunching again. And in this, I don't think, I'm not sure if Tony is Iron Man again. Here, I don't think he is. Well, it says Tony Stark, so I guess it is. I know Arno was in the more recent Iron Man, so they may have switched it back. And then Mark Brooks is gonna start doing Fantastic Four covers, so that'll be cool. Lots of reprints coming out here. Here's a Taskmaster's first appearance for $1. That's not bad. I do prefer the facsimile versions over the dollar reprints, but it's still cool. And then if you're interested, the Marvel Zombies line is coming back, or at least a one-shot of it. So, and it's written by Mark Miller and Robert Kirkman. So, could possibly be good. And then it looks like there's some other mini-series and stuff too. Zombies Resurrection, so. And I think that's, yeah, it's a 4-part mini-series. This Juggernaut miniseries looks good too. It's got Fabian Nicieza is writing it, and Ron Garney is drawing it. Ron Garney was drawing Captain America when I started to buy it ongoing back in '96. So he always holds a special place in my heart. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with Juggernaut for sure. And then the Maestro miniseries, it's a 5-parter, continues on. Written by Peter David with art by Dale Keown, so that's a big deal. It's his origin story. I think this is a really well constructed cover here, this Red Skull Captain America cover. It's got these dead bodies in here. Very detail oriented. And then we got the blood dripping off the hands. Very well thought out cover. So yeah, we have like the coming of Null sort of thing going on here. So Null is, it kind of reminds me of the whole Dark Side is thing. So Web of Venom, so this is a one-shot here. And then in the ongoing Venom we see number 29. And here it is, Null is the King in Black. So he's like a cosmic level threat melded with the symbiote that they've been dangling for a while. And it looks like a lot of the better known heroes are gonna have to face him. Another really good Alex Ross cover there. There's the juxtaposition there. Thor eating a sandwich. Oh, this guy's getting wrecked. recently, so very cool. Oh, it's nominated, my mistake. Then we have our Star Wars section here. I like Star Wars, but I haven't bought any of the Marvel stuff by it, but I'm a little bit curious about it for sure. And we see some cool merch here, like this Wolverine head bust here. These are some pretty well sculpted figures here too of Spider-Man and Thing. They're reprinting Spider-Man Volume 2 Omnibus, that's a big deal. And then of course, one of my favorite and the favorite modern run of Captain America here, getting a new printing. The Epting Brubaker run. The Winter Soldier and the Death and Return of Cap and all that. And then we see the Empire books being collected here. They're going to ship possibly November. I don't see one for the main book here, but I would imagine probably about the same time. So I might wait for the trade for it. I'm not sure yet. So this one's in December, so maybe November or December. So yeah, here it is. It's Sins Rising is the current Spider-Man storyline. That's the stuff with the kindred and everything. We have some good epic collections here, Venom and Daredevil. Also, too, as a side note, DC's preview magazine has been reduced to a poster with a checklist on the back, and then a couple books spotlighted here. So this is looking at the death metal event, all the one-shots, tie-ins for it. So that's what that is. And then this, you like tear it in half and give it to your shop. Write your info in there and whatever books you want. I'm trying to see the right source here for a second. I think if you just go to, I think it's just dcconnect.com, it'll bring up like what their printed issue would be. It's the past one they did was number 3, so it should have all of this stuff here in that one. So it's dcconnect.com and it's issue 3. So now we move on to the phone book here. Knives' new comic coming out, pronounced Berserker. And it just looks very heavy action. You can see this guy here, which is more or less Keanu, with knives and arrows stuck all up in him. So, promises to be big action, and I pre-ordered the first one to see how it goes. So yeah, they're gonna do an Assassin's Creed mini-series for the new game here. But I noticed it looks like Dark Horse is gonna do it again instead of Titan Books. But I'll probably wait for the trade for that, since I have been collecting the series through trades and not single issues. So your local shops should have some of these free comic book day books in them. They've been kind of sprinkling them throughout the summer. So, and I'll be showing off a few of mine on my next haul. I picked this up this week with some other books from my other shop, so I'll be showing you those. I am bummed though, I missed the Tick Free Comic Book Day for the first time this year. But I think if you just go through New England Comics website directly, you can order it through there too. So this is a big deal here. They're going to start reprinting the entire Walking Dead series in full color. As many of you know, it's been black and white for the full run. So now we get to see it in color. So if that's something that kept you away from it for a while, now you can check it out in color. This is what you can expect to see. This is the first issue here, obviously. So I am curious about this adventure, man. It's drawn by the Dodsons and written by Matt Fraction. I do follow Terry Dodson on Instagram, and I always see him post images of him creating this book. So I'm kind of curious to check it out. I love his style, so. And I really need to check out Ascender as well as Descender, or it's Descended, I can't remember. But I love Dustin Wynn stuff. And yeah, so this, I believe Descender was probably the same thing, about 14 issues long. And then they collected it, and this is the last one or rather the last part to this story arc, so. And then they restarted Chew here, but I believe it focuses on his sister now. It's either his sister or wife, I'm not sure. I haven't read much Chew, but I just know the premise. of him. Basically, he will take a bite out of a food or whatever and be able to trace the point of origin of whatever he has in his mouth. So he'll put part of, a dead body in his mouth, and he'll see in his head how the person was murdered, which is a pretty useful skill if you're a detective. So it's so funny too when I look and I see series that started off and their numbers are slowly creeping up here. Oblivion Song and Outcast. I'm pretty sure Oblivion Song #1 was teased in one of our first previews flip-throughs that we did. So it's crazy to see how many comics have accumulated in that time, They just keep going. This looks cool too. Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology here. It's got a bunch of different, really well-known artists working on it. It has art from Mike Mignola, Jerry Ordway, Dave Stewart. So, and then David Mack is doing this cover down here. Some more Stranger Things books. So here is the cover of that Assassin's Creed book. So it'll just be a 3-part miniseries. Now the question is, will this Cyberpunk comic come out before the game comes out? It keeps getting delayed. See the IDW area, and it looks like we have a Back to the Future crossover with Transformers. That's interesting, and that's a 4-part miniseries. I still want to check out the one they just did with the Terminator. I think they're just having a lot of fun doing, different crossovers. We have a random Goosebumps miniseries here. 5-part miniseries. Of course, if you grew up in the 90s, Goosebumps were a staple for you. And I just read Last Ronin just got pushed. The first part has been pushed to, I don't even know if it's possibly October or whatever. They're going with a new artist and everything, so I'm not sure what's all going on. I know that they had like a 4-page, like little ash can, I guess, that they were giving out at comic shops, and they were expecting to see a high pre-order based upon that marketing, and they didn't really see it. So I guess that they took that as a cue to go ahead and find a more higher esteemed artist, I guess. So I'm not sure what they're doing with it, but I just read that it happened this week. So, but from what I'm seeing too, even prior to that announcement, the ash can is selling for, I guess, some good chunk of change. I've seen it go for like $20 or so on eBay, which isn't too bad considering that it was, a freebie that they were giving out at comic shops. So, if you have that, we might see, that might be the only way you see that artist's rendition, Andy Kuhn, on that book. So all those pages might be redrawn when they're in the actual book. Or who's to say those pages are even going to be used at all, the content or anything. So either sell your copy for around 20 or keep it as a kind of an aside of what could have been, Now this is cool too. They are reprinting Usagi Yojimbo, collecting it in trades, but they're colorizing it all too, which has been in black and white until kind of recently here. So and then they're releasing, this is weird though, because this isn't the whole collection of this story, but it's all the other parts collected leading up to the last part of the story, I guess. Or at least that's how it is marketed before. I'm not sure if this is actually the full thing, but I believe the last issue was never printed yet, so for Batman and the Max. We see a Dune maxi series coming out, 12 parts. And I'm not sure the premise here. Adapted acclaimed prequel to the groundbreaking Dune, so the prequel to Dune is being adapted in a comic book form here. And I know they're working on, I guess, relaunching the movie or something too. So this gives you an idea. This is what the interior art for Berserker is going to look like here. So, yeah, it looks pretty action-packed. So it'll be 48 pages and $5, so it's a dollar more than you typically pay for a Marvel book, but you get more pages, I guess. So usually around 20. Oh, so here's some more images too. So we have the final issue of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, issue 55. So that's kind of a big deal. That's been one of their best sellers. I'm actually surprised to see that there. So they have an art book about the making of the X-Men animated series coming out. I'm curious about that. So that's going to be a 224 page book. That's $50. So if you like the 90s X-Men show, probably want to check that out. We see a Michael Turner Spider-Man variant here, and a Wolverine one as well. Lovecraft Illustrated. Sure, old Ephemeral Rift might be interested in that. 208 pages for $30. So, that's pretty neat. This one piques my interest too. Marvel's Greatest Comics, 100 comics that built the universe. It's a 256-page book for $35. Spotlighting what they consider the most important Marvel books. So here we see the Dynamic Forces section. And let's look. So you can get Nick Spencer's signature on some Spider-Man books here. Looks like the lowest run's about $49.99 on that one too. Donny Cates signed on this Venom here for $49.99. That one too, that Venom one. As well as on the store one. So yeah, $50 isn't bad for a signature. James Tynion IV for $39.99 there on the Department of Truth book. There you go, Peter David, Immortal Hulk number 0, signed by Peter David for $39.99. Another Nick Spencer, $49.99. The Dodson signed, $39.99 on Adventure Man number 1. So not bad. Some bigger names there with some affordable books. And like I said, they come with a certificate too, so if anyone wants to give you grief about authenticity, you have that, so. Now I highly recommend this, and I'm pre-ordering it. The Animorphs is getting told through graphic novel by Chris Grine here is the artist. And it's adapted from the book series, so I think this will probably adapt the first couple books, I would imagine. You can get it for soft cover for $12.99 or hardcover for $24.99. So 240 pages, that's not bad for a nice hit of nostalgia with some visuals to back it up. of Stan's soapbox here. This is the third printing. It's $14.99. It recollects some of his letter to the editor stuff that was in the back of the Marvel comics for the longest time. I'm surprised Invader Zim is up to its 10th graphic novel. Reprints up to issue 50. I think my kid owns the first 3. So this is kind of another interesting history of Marvel books here. It's called The Marvel Age of Comics. It looks at 40 years at Marvel, 1961 to 1978, which was pretty much like the prolific period at Marvel when all the major heroes were being created. So it talks about just kind of like stories about stuff as they were being created. 500 images and insights. Yeah, so that's curious. And it's $25 for 512 pages hardcover. Not bad at all. Let me flip it around for the figures here. I feel like I know who this is, David Silva. I'm seeing a lot of dinosaur images here. I'm not sure if he worked on Jurassic Park or not. I am gathering he's from like the Weta Workshop. I don't know. Wooden statue there for 50. Yeah, the Spider-Man really reminds me of how he looks in like the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Earlier ones, you know. I love that Rocketeer there too. There's two of them. I think this is series 3 of the My Hero figures here. I just started collecting these with my kid. And then, of course, this showcases a lot of Japanese action figures here. Alright, well that's gonna do it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this thing out. Let me know down below what you want to see. And as always, you all have a super